How to read a topographical map. Now, the first thing to know about a topographical map that it will cover not only roads but also the geography. So, each line, as you can see here, the lines, that represents an elevation change. And these numbers represent the elevation. So, as you can see here, right here is a very steep hill. On the other side, not so steep. So, as you can see here, it starts at 3,800 feet and goes up. If you keep on going up here in a straight line, you'll get to 4,600 feet. That is practically 800 feet going in a very steep climb. Now, how long is this climb? This is what the scale will tell us. Now, a scale, you can read it by a ruler, and this scale isn't perfectly fit to the ruler because I enlarged the map just a little bit, but it still fits to the lines of the ruler. So, if you look at how many miles, 1 mile will be 3 13/16 inches. So, if I measured out 3 13/16 on the map, say if I wanted to go from the radio tower and walk straight 1 mile this way, 3 13/16, that is 1 mile from there to there. But you're not always going to deal with miles, perfect, even miles. So, what I have is a hike planned on this map with 3 legs. One is going from the lookout tower right here to the radio tower right here, going down to the road right here, and then to the picnic area right here. So there to there, from there. So let's measure all this out. We have from the radio tower, from my point to the lookout tower, would be 2 and 1, 2, 5, 6 16ths. So let's calculate 2 times 16 is equal to 32 plus 6 is 38/16. Now let's write that down. 38, leg 1. It's 38. Now, let's draw a straight line from here to here. Remember that this is the direction that we're going. Now, next is from this radio tower point to here. Now, this, we'll measure this out. To be 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 16ths. So 16 plus 4 is 20. 20. Now let's measure it from the road to the picnic area. And a straight line would be 1 inch. So leg 3, which is the shortest leg, is 16. So let's calculate 61 is 1 mile. So let's take 38 divided by 61 is equal to, leg 1 is 0.62 miles. Leg 2, which is 20/16, 20 divided by 61 is equal to 0.3, rounded up, 3 miles. And leg 3, 16 divided by 61 is equal to 0.26 miles. So let's add all this up. 0.26 plus 0.33 plus 0.62 is equal to, the whole trip is a very short trip of 1.21 miles. So that's how to see the trip. Now, some other features that you'll see on this topographical map is, first you'll see elevation change, and you also notice that these lines will represent a road. Now, this is very handy to know because the roads are very easy to walk on, opposed to just straight through the forest. Now you notice that this blue line right here, that is a stream, and the name of the stream is Red Stream. This dotted line right here is a forest. That's a forest line. You'll notice first 4 things: north, east, south, and west. Now these are accompanied by degrees, going 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, all the way around until 360 degrees, as there are 360 degrees in a circle. Now, these are helpful because they can pinpoint your position exactly. That way that you can tell exactly where you're going, instead of guessing north, northwest, north-northwest, something like that. You can pinpoint your direction in degrees. So, how to find the direction you're going, is that you want to point your compass in the direction that you're going, and then turn this so that red is in the shed. That way that this north is aligned with the pole that's attracted to north, and you'll see that we're going about 60 degrees. Of course, this can also be interrupted by metal or metallic or electric objects, such as a phone right here. It's actually going to move the compass in a direction, and that will mess up the compass. So make sure that you take it away from metal. Now that you've planned your trip, you're going to want to take some safety precautions. Of course, this will also go into your planning, but it's good to keep these in mind throughout the trip. The first thing is, in the event that you injure yourself, stay calm and try to dress the wound as best you can. If it's very complicated, don't try to address the wound. If you can reach first responders, then if you can't, however, just stay calm, and either if you think you can make it to a place where you can, try that. If it's not that bad, just stay put. Another thing is that you want to make sure that people know where you're going and when you're going. Say if I have a trip planned to Spruce Knob, I'm going to go Sunday afternoon, and I plan to get back Monday morning. So if I have that written all down, I'm going to give that to somebody. That way, if I get lost and I'm still gone on Tuesday, somebody is going to know where I am, and they're going to try to contact a search and rescue responders, and they're going to try to find me. Now, before you go on a hike, you're going to want to pack up all the essential items for a hike in your backpack. The first of these that we're going to cover is a basic first aid kit. Now, this is a small representation of what you need in a first aid kit, but it's just that, a small representation. Now, first we have ibuprofen, which is a painkiller. And after that, we have Band-Aids. These are small bandages, and of course you'd also want a wraparound bandage in case you get hurt more than what a Band-Aid can cover. Also, we have antibiotic salve. This will prevent any cuts or wounds from getting infected. Now next, we have a yellow poncho. A yellow poncho is brightly colored, and although it's a very nice day outside, this will protect us from getting wet just in case it rains. Now, I chose yellow as a color for this poncho because if I'm in the middle of the woods and a hunter sees me in my poncho, if I'm in a camo poncho and he sees something moving, he's probably going to think that I'm an animal and he might shoot me. If I'm wearing a yellow poncho and he sees a brightly colored yellow object moving, he's not going to think that I'm an animal because this is an artificial color. And next we have a knife. Now this will do anything that you need a knife to do. This is a fixed blade knife and it is fairly sharp. We also have a backup Swiss Army knife. This will do anything you need a knife to do, not as effectively as this knife, but it also can do things that you need as other things, such as being a screwdriver or aiding a magnifying glass, just in case you need to start fires. Speaking about starting fires, we have matches in a Ziploc bag. Now, I would have waterproof matches if I didn't know that waterproof matches don't work that well. They don't work nearly as well as these kitchen matches. And we just put them in a Ziploc bag to make sure that water doesn't get to them, and when we need them, we just take one out, and then strike it against a match, against a box, and then light a fire. And we need a fire for staying warm, but we also need it for cooking. We have Hormel chili, and we'll go over how to cook it possibly later. Now, in case you're hungry in the middle of the hike and you don't have time to light a fire, you're going to want to get a snack. Now, we have cookies, and these cookies will make a great light snack in the middle of a hike in case we get hungry. In order to eat the meal that we just made, we have an eating utensil. This is a spoon, a fork, and a knife all in one. So it takes out the need for carrying 3 utensils, and we only have 1. Next, we have a compass. A compass is going to tell us what direction we're heading and help us navigate. We'll go over how to use it later. We also have bug spray. Now, bug spray is going to be very useful in keeping away insects such as flies or mosquitoes. And also we have sunscreen. Sunscreen protects us from harmful UV rays that will otherwise give us a sunburn and make us very uncomfortable. Now next we have water. Water is an essential ingredient to life. Your body is made of more than 70% water, so we need to keep on replacing it constantly because when you're on a hike, you could possibly be sweating We're also going to be using the bathroom, so you're going to want to have water. This carries 16 ounces, this carries 16 ounces, so that's 32 ounces of water that we have right there. Now, when we get to where we want to camp, we need to have a tent. Now this is a 3-person tent. We don't have 3 people to go on the hike with us today, and it's a fairly short hike, but it's always good to have a tent just in case you need to stay overnight. Now next we have an airbag. Well, not an airbag. We have an air mattress. We blow this up ourselves. There's an nozzle right there for blowing it up. It'll give us a good night's sleep. And of course, what would camping be without a sleeping bag? Take this out and use it as a blanket in order to stay warm overnight. Even in the summer, temperatures overnight can be very cold, so it's always good to have a sleeping bag. Now, let's move on to how to pack a backpack without actually hurting yourself. What we want to do is we want to have the slightly heavy stuff, such as this mattress, at the bottom. Next, we'll put all the heaviest stuff in the middle, and we will put the lightest and most fragile things on the top. Now let's get started on that. We don't need to eat the chili right away because as a snack, so we're going to put it where we're going to be putting the tent. That way when we take out the tent, we can also take out the chili. The compass we're going to be wearing around our neck, so in case we need to do some quick navigation, we can have it right there. These snacks are fairly fragile, so these are going to go onto the top of the bag, right here. Not all backpacks have a top like this, but it's a good thing to remember that fragile things need to go on the very top. Now this water bottle is in a very rigid container. However, we're going to be using this a lot. So we're going to put this at the top so we can easily access it. Now, this knife is foldable, and it's our backup knife. So we're going to put this in our backpack. Our regular knife is going to go on our side. Now normally I would be wearing long pants and a belt, but this is just a demonstration, so I'm wearing short pants and I'm not wearing a belt. But remember that. Now we want to get, in case we get hurt, we want to get to our first aid kit very fast, so that's going to go on the top chair. Zipped up. And this goes on top. Now we have one thing that is normally packed on the outside, and that is our sleeping bag. This takes up a lot of space and is not fairly heavy. So if we put this on the outside, it's not going to be very heavy to carry. So when you're putting it on the outside, you want to make sure that both the horizontal axis and the vertical axis are going to be stable. That way you don't lose it, and trust me, if you lose it, you might not realize it. There we have it.